Hello everyone, if you're new to my channel, I'm Travis and I am a young adult who has a autism spectrum disorder. In this video I'm going to talk about what it's like for me to grow up with my autism diagnosis. In this video I'm going to talk about what time period I grew up during as a autistic person, about how much knowledge there was about autism during that time period. Yep. If you do not know about what autism is, the next slide will be a infographic I made about autism. Also, if you have any questions about autism, please do never hesitate to ask them. If any question, please do ask them. I do apologize if I do talk fast. When I was younger and diagnosed with autism, I did not know much about autism. I wasn't told about my autism, basically. Back then, not much was known about autism by the general public. Yep. During this time, families with autistic loved ones often dealt with insensitive people. Yep. It's during a time where most people in public really did not know what autism was or why a kid was acting the way they were, who had autism, Most people in public didn't understand why a autistic kid was acting the way they do, Fortunately today, they have a lot of knowledge about autism nowadays, That's one thing I'm happy about nowadays. There's a lot of information out there about autism. Still, there's also still people out there who may not know what autism is. One thing I like about my channel is I'm able to give people information about autism from the perspective of someone who has autism. That's me, If you guys ever have any question about autism, please do not ever hesitate to ask your question. Yep. When I was a kid, I really didn't understand why I was different from the other kids my age, I really didn't understand why I was different and what made me different, Yep. During when I was younger, my family often dealt with insensitive people who didn't understand that I was autistic or that I had a autism diagnosis. Yep. I went to school during a time where your average student without any disability knew nothing about autism. I was also in special education myself. Yep. Back then, if you're a autistic student, you most likely got bullied and picked on and made fun of for being different. During this time, most autistic students were thought of as being weird by non-disabled students because of their disability. Fortunately, students nowadays have knowledge about autism. Yep. There's some schools nowadays that also participate in the Special Olympics, which is pretty cool though. Back then, I didn't know if my school did that or not because back then, not much knowledge was known about autism in the general public, and also many kids without disabilities did not know much about autism. Many of the disabled kids back then who had autism like I did, you basically only had friends that were also in special ed. If you were a student in special education, you most likely had friends that were also disabled as well. Yep. It's hard to make friends back then if you're a disabled kid because you were looked at as being weird because of your disability, you know. When I was younger, my mom had to break down my haircuts into two different sessions or 3 different sessions, depending on how long I could sit still for. Also, as younger, we had to break down my homework time into 2 different sessions growing up. One was before dinner, the other was after dinner. When I was younger, it was in middle school. I had a class from 8th and 6th grade. Yep. I also had a IEP as a autistic student. For those unaware, a IEP is a individualized education program. I have a video about that on my channel. You can go check it out after this video. Basically, during this time, when I was younger, had many different challenges growing up as a autistic kid. I wish I known growing up as a autistic kid. I wish I knew a lot about my autism when I was a kid. But now as an adult, I've learned a lot about autism. I'm happy to share information about autism that I wish I knew back when I was a kid. Such as how common this is right now, just to be on this ball right here.